about time. Time is your greatest resource. Time is the thing that we have the least of. Time is the thing that you have to respect. How you use it, how you manage it, it's all about the time. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to laugh and a time to cry. Steal my house, steal my car, steal my clothes, but whatever you do, don't waste my time. We cannot use the time we've lost. We cannot use the time we've wasted. The only thing we can use is the time we have left. And the question is, what are you going to do with the time you have left? Reposition yourself says, what else is in you? It's a question, it's not an answer. It poses a question that demands a personal response. What else is in you? And do you have the courage to do it while you still have time?
Bishop T.D. Jakes has been called one of the most inspirational spiritual leaders in America.
We know how to have church, but the problem is we don't know how to have a life. Jesus didn't say, I come that you might have church. He said, I come that you might have life. God wants you to get a life.
I remember just looking at the faces of people, and it seemed as if you could see change taking place on the faces of people.
One of the great things about T.D. Jakes is he's able to communicate with women at a depth that has never been done before.
First of all, Bishop Jakes is a spiritual genius. He is discernful. He senses the times in which we are functioning. And sometimes you have to break out of an old mode to break into something new.
Bishop Jakes leads the Potter's House Church in Dallas, Texas. In 10 years, it grew from 50 families to a congregation of more than 32,000. It's a mega church that does mega work. T.D. Jakes graced the cover of Time magazine as one of the most influential evangelicals in America. His weekly sermons are broadcast to millions across the nation, and his work has taken him to nearly every corner of the globe. In his 30 years behind the pulpit, he's provided more than just spiritual guidance. T.D. Jakes has penned 30 books, dealing with not only faith, but finances, business, marriage, and leadership. His latest book, Reposition Yourself, Living Life Without Limits, is a New York Times bestseller. Repositioning can apply to all areas of your life, but it requires a personal commitment to embrace change. T.D. Jakes breaks the process down into 5 main steps.
The first point of any process is, number 1, revelation. That's what starts the dating process. That's what starts the hiring process. That's what makes you go back to school. You get a revelation. You make a decision in your head. It's not the money. It's not the resources. It's something that happens in your mind. If you cannot conceive it, you cannot receive it. If your little mind cannot imagine it, don't worry about it. You'll never have it. But if you've been getting pictures in your head of another you living inside of you, if you can see yourself living on another level, you may not have the money, you may not have the background, but if you got the revelation, number 2, you'll get the inspiration. Inspiration, inspire. Spire means to point upward, spiral, to point upward. Inspire is when everything in you is pointing up. Inspiration. Like in a dating situation, you meet her, you see her across the room, you get a revelation. Come on, fellas, don't leave me out there by myself. How many men in here have ever got a revelation? You know we are visual. We will get a revelation. And then don't we get an inspiration? And if the inspiration goes to the 10th level, don't we fool around and put on a ring, and now you got formalization. And inevitably, once you formalize the relationship, it goes to step 4, institutionalization. Like in this illustration, you get down to the business of the marriage. Who's picking up the kids? Did you take out the trash? Who set the alarm clock? What time you got to get up in the morning? The business of marriage, institutionalization. The romance begins to take a backseat to the business of marriage. It becomes an institution. It becomes a partnership. It becomes a merger. Each of you have an assignment to do. You don't have much time for the inspiration because of the formalization and the institutionalization, which leads you to the 5th stage, which is crystallization. Crystallization is when it's gotten cold and it's gotten frigid and it's not working anymore, and you're just going through the motions, and you're laying in the bed at 2 o'clock in the morning feeling empty and lonely because it's not meeting you at the point of your need. It is now crystallized. See, what I'm trying to teach you is that everything, no matter how good it is, no matter how wonderful it is, no matter how exciting it is, everything ends up stuck.
For Leanne Devereaux, being stuck was a threat to her survival.
I just thought, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. I did not want to be stuck there in that lifestyle and end up dying. I really needed a mentor, somebody to pull me up and say, it's going to be okay.
When you have not been mentored and groomed in a position that gives you permission to be successful, it's almost like the birds that you leave the cage door open, but they stay in the cage because they've been trained to live in the cage. And many people are living in the cage right now, not because the door isn't open, but they're afraid to go through it.
The cage that limited Leanne's potential had been present since early childhood.
When I was 7 or 8, I think that's really when I first realized that what it actually was. My dad was an alcoholic, mentally abusive and verbally abusive. I think that sometimes you, as a child, could think that it's your fault, that, if you were doing something better, then, Daddy wouldn't drink.
After her turbulent teenage years, Leanne struggled to make it on her own as a single mom.
Working 4 jobs and taking care of a baby by yourself is impossible. I was getting about 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night, and eventually, I lost my good job because I fell asleep at work, and I lost my apartment. We were living in my truck on the streets. Once that happened, I ended up being in a homeless shelter. I didn't have anywhere to go. One of my friends had told me how much money she was making dancing in topless clubs. So I decided I would try that. After a couple of years dancing in the clubs, I started feeling really bad about myself, bad about what I was doing. I started losing what few morals I had left. I danced in clubs for a total of 11 years. By the end of the 11 years, I was addicted to speed and cocaine. I was dealing drugs. I was dating customers. I was suicidal. I had no hope. When I would go to the grocery store, for instance, I would hang my head down and stare at the floor because I felt like worthless.
Leanne tried unsuccessfully several times to quit that life. Finally, the death of a coworker gave her the motivation to move on.
I left all my friends, or the people that I really thought were my friends. I left them all behind. I started going to church every Sunday, but I felt like such a dirtbag walking in the door and sneaking into the back row, hoping that nobody would see me, because I just knew that if they knew what I'd just come out of, they'd tell me to leave. And I really started getting close to God, but I felt so lonely. I didn't have any friends. So I took things back into my own hands, and I was actually on my way back to a club. And on the way there, my car blew the engine. about a mile from the club. So I broke down on the side of the freeway, and I look over, and I'm in front of a church. I look up it's on the hill. And I look up and I see this cross. And I started laughing because I knew, God stopped me this time. And I told him I was sorry, that I promised, never try to go back. And, continued going to church. And on my way to the parking lot that day, as customary, I would slip out early. And I felt somebody tap me on the shoulder. And I turned around, and it was this lady that I'd always noticed in church. She was always happy. I mean, you could spot her in a crowd of 500 people because she glows. And I would always look at her and think, wow, whatever she's got, I wish I had that. So I turn around, and it's her. And here she is all bubbly and happy and smiling. She says, I don't know where you've come from, what you've been through, but I just wanted you to know God's really put you on my heart. And I want you to know that I love you. And I laughed at her. And I thought, okay, lady, I'm going to let you know. All I'm going to tell you, and then you're going to turn around and walk away. And I told her, I said, well, I've been a topless dancer and a drug addict. And she laughed. And she said, that's okay, I still love you. And that was my friend. What makes me happy now is that I'm a much better mother than I used to be, and that I have my children. I have a wonderful husband. It feels really good to be back at school. I don't know if I picked accounting as a major or whether it picked me, really. I'll be the first person to graduate from college in my family. When I walk around the campus, it feels like I've really accomplished something. It's been a long journey, but I think that all of the experiences that I went through there have made me who I am today, and I am a much stronger person for it. And thank God I'm still alive. I made it out.
For Leanne, the key to her repositioning was getting off a self-destructive path. By starting over and going back to school, she was able to overcome obstacles that had plagued her since she was a young girl. It was a tough fight, but she made it.
T.D. Jakes is also no stranger to hardship. Growing up in West Virginia, he came from a nurturing family. However, he did have a challenging childhood. Bishop Jakes learned early the importance of perseverance and resilience.
I was raised to be relentless. My parents drilled in us, you can do anything if you try hard enough. I didn't till I was about 11 years old. I think things were fairly normal. Around 11 or so, my father got sick with renal failure and developed kidney disease. And childhood pretty much went out of the window for me. At that point, I had to grow up and be responsible. He died when I was 16. And there was no room in my life for childishness. You had to be responsible, you had to be committed, you had to be focused. My mother got sick when I was 17. I dropped out of school and started taking care of her. I think one of the greatest things that my mother taught me is that there were more gifts inside of me than what I discovered. She made life a mystery to me. She made me feel as though that there were things inside of me that were untapped. And so I've been on an adventure all of my life to find out what God put inside of me.
Some have a clear path to success. Others, like Turdima Ussery, needed to excel just to survive.
I grew up in South Central LA, in kind of the border between Compton and Watts. And so, growing up was a challenge in and of itself. The fights, the gangs, trying to hold on to your lunch money. By the time you get to school, a lot of times it's taken because someone's jumped you and taken it. My grandmother used to always tell me that I run my mouth too much. And she said, you should be a lawyer and get paid for talking so much, because I love to talk and I love to argue. And I was always known as a loquacious kid.
A junior high school teacher saw Ussery's potential and believed he could attend a top university. The first step was to get him in a good high school.
She worked with me to fill out an application to a private school called the Thatcher School. Didn't tell my parents about it because we had no money. She filled out the application. She wrote my recommendations. She got me in. And when I got in, she simply said, make us proud. You're the next one that's going to go to the Ivy League. And I never forgot it. And that's how I got there. Once I had gotten into the Thatcher School, the objective in the back of my mind was to go to a great school and to make Mrs. Harris proud. And that was kind of what drove me. I think when you talk about repositioning your life and when you talk about the things that have happened to me, yeah, it obviously starts with God, but I think He puts people in your life as well. I've always had people around me older who had wisdom. And they always took the time to impart that wisdom on me, and I've tried to listen.
Princeton, Harvard, and Berkeley Law, and then on to a successful career as a corporate lawyer in Los Angeles. On the fast track to becoming a partner, Turdima Ussery repositioned himself again. Switching cities, he accepted a new challenge that led to his running the CBA, the Continental Basketball Association.
In other words, I was making good money, I was practicing in downtown LA, life was good. So to step out of all that, move out of Los Angeles 6 months after I had a child that was born, move to a city I'd never lived in Denver, Colorado, take a huge pay cut, and go into a field and with a league that people were saying, that's kind of it's kind of a know-nothing league. I had to swallow very hard. Here's an opportunity to go into an area that I know nothing about to see if I can turn this around. I did it because of the challenge, the excitement of it.
After achieving success in his new position as commissioner of the CBA, it was time to reposition again.
And that's when Phil Knight from Nike called and said, we have problems. Are you interested in coming to Nike? And usually when there's something bad going on, I like to get in the middle of it. That's why I tell people, I'm sure that the circumstances once there would be pretty tough, but growing up where I grew up, you have to develop a certain sense of confidence. You may not see the end game, you may not be where you want to be, but in order to be able to really take advantage of new opportunities, you have to focus on what you're doing and focus on being the best you can be at that moment in time.
Nike wasn't the last stop. The next opportunity and challenge came from the NBA's Dallas Mavericks.
With the Mavericks, the challenge here was great organization, authentic brand in professional basketball. Don Carter, first owner, great man that was respected in the league. But like a lot of sports teams, they're cyclical. And the cycle was down when I got here. And so the objective was to reignite the brand, try to reignite the community, get the team turned around, get people excited about the Dallas Mavericks again. So we designed a new building. We worked on designing new uniforms.
Turdima Ussery remained the CEO of the Mavericks when a new owner took over. The team became championship caliber and their popularity soared. Another repositioning was about to take place for Mr. Ussery, but this one did not involve changing employers.
Running a basketball team was, and is, a lot of fun. Just about the time it got a little bit quiet, we get a new owner in, and he and I are having a discussion about high definition, and he says, let's launch a television network. So all of a sudden it got really hectic again. So sometimes you can reposition yourself by staying right where you are. And it was a blast. It was a lot of work, but it was a blast. And so in my case, I think objectively, people would look at me and they say, man, he's had a lot of success. He's gone to great schools, he makes decent money, he's in a fun, people would call it a fun job, although I can't say the job's always fun, but he's in a job that's certainly interesting and exciting, and he serves on the boards of these great companies and the whole thing. But there's a side of me that also, and it's the most important side, first and foremost, I view myself as a child of God. And so the question I'm always asking myself in the quiet of the evening is, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I being the best person that I can be? Because you live once. It's a cliche, but it's true. You live once, and you don't know how good you can be until you're really in those circumstances that cause you to stretch.
After a lifetime of achievement, Turdima Ussery is very clear on what he hopes his legacy will be.
I was in what I thought was going to be almost a plane crash one day, and I thought a lot about that, and I thought about all the things I'd achieved in life and what I wanted people to say about me. And at the end of the day, I got a dog tag and put it around my neck that says Christian husband, father, and my birth date on it. And I thought that wherever I die in the world, wherever the end is for me, if people just remember me as that, then that's what I want my legacy to be, and then I've done all right. So the Princetons, the Harvards, all that stuff is great, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's what I did. It's not who I am or what I was. Those three things are what I am and who I am on a daily basis, and so that's what matters to me.
Terdema Uthery is a prime example. He's a member of our church. He's been sitting up under our ministry for a number of years. He's a perfect example of repositioning. Even with great success, you constantly need to reposition yourself. Unfortunately, for many others, success can often be elusive. They're afraid to try for fear they won't succeed. They failed in the past. And now they see themselves as a limited individual. They live within safe parameters. They play it safe. And people who are incredibly successful are risk takers. They break rules. They go beyond barriers. They're not limited. The second thing that I think is equally as dangerous to success is the fear of success. Some people are afraid that if they succeed, A, they won't be accepted by their peers and their friends. They have a social environment that's predicated upon a certain economic or educational level. And if you go beyond it, people don't think you're legit anymore. They don't think you're keeping it real anymore.
As a child, T.D. Jakes learned an important lesson about repositioning.
Mama said that we had to be able to count to 100. We had to be able to count to 100 when we were little kids. And so I started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look, Mama, hey, Mama, I can count to 10. She said, I didn't say 10. I said 100. I said, Mama, 100 is a long ways from 10. How about being happy for my 10? And suddenly I realized you never have to count to 100. Ever. Or 1,000, or 1,000,000, ever in your life. All you ever have to do is count to 10. Because all 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 or 1,000,000,000,000 ever is multiples. So let me show you what I'm saying. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is 1 again on the next level. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1 again on the next level. 2, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1 again on the next level. You know what's wrong with people? Some people get stuck at being at the top of one level, and they can't go to the next level because they're not willing to go back to 1 again on the next level. And you have to decide, do you want to be a Big 10 on a low level, or are you willing to reposition yourself and go to 1 again on the next level and have to learn again and think again and study again and assimilate again and meet new people and learn your way and figure it out, and just when you get it down pat, don't stay there, go back to 1 again on the next level. I'm going to show you how to determine whether you're 10 on the wrong level. If you live in a world where everybody looks to you for advice and they depend on you for support, and whenever they're in trouble they look to you, if you live on a level where you are the smartest person on that level, if you live on a level where it's you they go to for help for everything, if you live on a level where everybody associated with you is pulling from you and draining you and tugging you and constantly making withdrawals from you, You have outgrown that level. It's time to make up in your mind, I am going up to the next level. Get around some people that make you feel stupid, that make you read, that make you study, that make you think, because that keeps you growing, it keeps you living, it keeps you moving, it keeps you exciting.
Another lesson T.D. Jakes learned from his parents is the value of being a property owner.
My parents were radical about home ownership. My mother went so far as to tell me I wasn't a man until I had my name on a piece of property.
Owning a piece of property is extremely important because without it, you don't own a piece of the American dream. And without owning a piece of the American dream, you really can't attain and that which you say you would like to have. And it wasn't always that way for me. I grew up in the projects on the west side of Chicago. I was a good student, but I was afraid to be good because in being good, you'd have to consistently be good. And so I think I was afraid to reach the level of expectation that was expected of me by my mother and by my father, because if you got A's, you would have to consistently get A's. So I shot for average and hit it. I didn't get into a whole lot of trouble when I was young. I waited until I got older to get in all of my trouble. After high school, I joined the military. I just didn't feel like I wanted to walk the high school hallways any longer.
In 1981, McGee was honorably discharged from the Army. He married, fathered 2 children, and joined the ranks of the Illinois State Police. Soon, he was assigned to the very streets he grew up on.
The Van Ryn was the expressway that I patrolled on a regular basis.
While responsible for enforcing the law, McGee secretly abused it.
I remember finishing smoking crack and running out to get in my squad car to go to work. You know, it was just, I'm even ashamed to even say it. And my stomach churns right now with, you know, just being revolted by my behavior. You know, it was just a situation where it was painful. It was painful to be a drug addict. I didn't want to be a drug addict. I really wanted to make my mother proud. I really wanted to be a good father. I really wanted all of those things, but those things that, you know, just kind of went away under the power of the addiction.
And then he came to me. I just really couldn't handle this because he's my great son that had so much potential, and then you're on drugs, and I just could not understand it. And then he lost his family, and his wife, and his home.
McGee was homeless for 3 years.
You know what, the feeling of homelessness, man, is one that is almost indescribable, but it's a pain that you cannot cry out from. But it's just a pain that you have, you know, that once I had realized that I had inflicted it upon myself, the pain is even greater. And there's nobody to tell it to. You know, I ain't got no place to stay. Well, people look at you like that's your problem. I know that one of the saddest things I did was hustling up and getting money to passing bad checks, should I say, to get my kids Christmas toys, and then turning around and selling those same Christmas toys to the dope dealers so that I could get a bag.
10 years into his addiction, at rock bottom, McGee summoned the courage to make a change.
Sleeping in this abandoned garage, my nose and my mouth is covered because the stench is so horrible, and I could not believe at that moment that I was actually sleeping in a place with feces and urine and crack and Kotex and condoms and syringes, that I was actually making myself comfortable in that environment. And so in doing that, man, I looked and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Finally, I came to and was able to come to my mother, who gave me some help and some direction at the very end of my addiction. And from there, you know, she took me to a recovery home. I'm an entrepreneur in my heart, and when I lived in a recovery home, I saw how they were doing it, and I felt that I could do it just as well, if not better. This is my second location, Henry's Sober Living House number 2, 7143 South Harvard. We have 9 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3 kitchens. And it's bigger, better. I currently have 3 recovery homes. We house 70 people in our recovery homes. Actually, I'm the first Black-owned licensed recovery home in the city of Chicago. It's given me an opportunity that to take care of my family, take care of my children, and also take care of other people, you know.
When I came here, I basically had no other place to go. And he opened the door, he opened his doors to me. He allowed me to come here and kind of start my life over,
The most satisfying part about me running a recovery home is seeing an individual come in my house angry, bitter, hopeless, and then seeing that same individual have hope, get reunited with their families, get a job, get a place to stay, call me and then ask me, how am I doing? Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, the change in him, he has become a great father, and he's just a great son.
And so the other part about success that it really impacted me greatly that I did not know is that people want to keep you in the box that you once were. They want to box you in to the drug addict you once were, to the thief you once were, to the liar you once were. They never want to see you as the honest, hardworking entrepreneur that you are now. And so that's been one of the difficult things because you have to leave some people behind. A few months ago, I was in my house and I had an opportunity just to sit down. And I don't know what came over me, but I was sitting in the front room of my house looking to the back of my house, and I just broke down and started crying. I broke down and started crying because I had a moment of remembering that I was a homeless man. I had a moment of remembering that I was a drug addict. And in remembering I was a drug addict, I remembered all of the pain, all the things I went through, and then I looked at what God has brought me at. And when I looked at my house, I just began to cry. And you just know that you're never worthy of the kind of blessings. I realized in a great way that it's not me. I'm not that smart. I'm not that articulate. I'm not that, person who could actually start a business and run a business and help over 500 people come through my facility. It has to be a God who would take a drug addict, an alcoholic, an ex-offender, and put him on this kind of platform.
It took hitting rock bottom for Henry McGee before he was able to reposition himself, but repositioning doesn't need to come from desperation. What you do need is a plan and a strategy. Before I was Bishop T.D. Jakes and before I'd ever picked up a laptop and began to write my first book or my first novel, my job required years ago that I'd be able to get behind an 18-wheeler and get it where I was trying to go. You'd be surprised what you can learn about life behind an 18-wheeler. Come on, hop on board and let's go for a ride. I got a life lesson for you. You ready? Come on, let's go for a ride. Repositioning your life is much like driving a truck. You have to plan ahead. You have to understand that you've got a big load or a lot of people or a lot of responsibilities depending on you. And you have to have a strategic plan, know what the turn is coming ahead. So many people don't anticipate turns and they're not prepared for it. Every stage, every age of life brings new challenges. But while you're living at this stage, you have to be planning on the next stage. That reminds me of driving a truck. I can't wait till I get to the corner and then decide I'm going to turn this thing around. I have to start positioning myself, getting in the right lane, checking the rear view mirror, getting everything in my mind so that I can make the turn. And then when I make the turn, I've got to look behind me to make sure that everything that is attached to me has made it safely to the other side. That's a lot like life. How many things are attached to you, pulling at you, requiring more and more of you? And whenever you make a decision, it affects everything that's attached to you. Your family, your finances, your career, your whole life is affected. So as you prepare to reposition yourself, start thinking about all the things that are attached to you and how you have to make a decision that will affect them and leave yourself some room for the weight and the load you carry. You're carrying a lot of load. Big load, big changes, big strategy. Reposition yourself. Check it out. You know, I just celebrated 25 years of marriage. And if from my wedding day till now, I would have thought of it in 25 years, I wouldn't have made it. You don't have a great marriage in 25 years of greatness. You have a great day. But when you get to those points where things are not working well, you have to realize that things break down for a reason. Nothing just breaks, not in your body, not in your car, not in your home, without a reason. People don't know that about relationships. They think every issue is terminal. They don't talk, they don't communicate, they don't cry, they don't fuss, they don't change. People don't stay married 50 years because every day was wonderful. They stayed married 50 years because they kept repositioning themselves. They danced through vibrant, hot, passionate sex, and then they went through chemo, and it wasn't about sex at all. It was about being there for each other. Relationships are about a dance. Well, if you really dance, you change with the music. Good relationships change with the music, and it happens when both people are willing to reposition themselves.
We got married in Jamaica. Then after we got married, we kind of walked on the beach, and it was just, it was just a perfect day for me. I wouldn't have changed anything.
Oh man, that first day, my first day with my wife-to-be was, it was a blind date.
We went to Bennigan's, which is a kind of a local pub, and just had just talked. We talked constantly. He tells this joke that I was kind of leaning over and he was trying not to look, in this area. so, which was, I thought that was kind of funny.
She had a little tiger outfit and a little blouse, and she wore it well. It complimented her figure. The whole outfit you could ball up in a hand and put in your glove box. It was a tiny little mini skirt.
And I guess within a month, I kind of knew, he had something special.
The romance was good, and it was a good first year. It was an awesome year. On my birthday, I bought myself a birthday present. I'm gonna do this, and then she's gonna kill me for this because she said don't do it. You can edit it out later. I got it, my only tattoo. In the tattoo, I put 3 tattoos together, and what it means is, my heart's on fire for Debbie, my soulmate, and even though love has thorns, we're together till death do us part.
The first year was absolutely fabulous. Every month on our day of our wedding day, George would send me for the first month, he sent me 1 rose, second month, 2 roses. All the way to the 12th month, I got a dozen roses. And then it was like, gosh, after that, something started to slowly change.
I knew, some of the signs I knew things were going wrong. I say the first one was, we really stopped talking. And we got down to the business at hand, business of marriage.
We spent more time talking about bills and, oh, the dishwasher's broken, and, those kinds of things, not the things that that connected us, that we did before.
Oh, I knew it was a problem because, we stopped being real romantic with each other. We started snapping at the littlest things, real stupid little arguments, things that wasn't that important. Big issues start coming up, and we weren't even trying to address it. We kind of just avoided it.
I don't know if George is going to tell you, but anyway, there was some infidelity there. And so once that issue came to the light, we had to sit and say, what was missing? What was missing that we thought we couldn't get from each other? And we realized that what was missing was we had it. We always did have it. We just had to find out how to get back to it.
Well, she caught me in a couple lies, so I had to come clean. And then when we were all set to say, okay, call a lawyer, let's get this over with. But then when she told me she still loves me, and even with that, she said she'd still be willing to work at this, but she's not gonna be a fool. And I have to show her that I mean to make this work.
The Canes worked with a counselor and got their marriage back on track. It started with facing the big issues.
I think for me, forgiveness is just a part of being a human being. I think if you don't forgive people, you miss a whole lot. People are flawed. You have to allow, I think, humans to be flawed. And I knew when I met George that he was not perfect, and I'm sure he knew that about me. And so I knew that early on, there probably would be times when I would have to forgive him. And good, bad, big and small.
I'm always amazed at how good you can forgive. I'm actually having more trouble forgiving myself. And you don't hold a grudge, and that's wonderful. And I know forgiveness is also, you gotta forgive yourself for your shortcomings too. And that's a process and work.
Yeah.
But when I realized that I actually have to work at this, and that was my new image of marriage, then I know, well, first of all, I didn't want to lose you. I knew I had a good thing. But I wasn't afraid of being alone, but I was afraid of losing you because I knew you were a good catch.
There were a couple of times when we went through the stormy period that I thought, gosh, you know, I don't want to have to try to find somebody else. I don't want to be by myself again. But I did want to be happy, and that kind of helped me make the decision about what I wanted to do, to tell him, I'll leave you. If I have to, I will. But my first choice is to be happy. So if you're willing to do some of these things, then hey, we can do that. But if you're not, you know, I did put a plan into action. If he wasn't going to be on board with the plan, then I knew, you know, it wouldn't work.
It's hard to address big issues because it is painful. And for me, it's so much easier to push it under the rug. And our pastor and our counselor said, you know, you can only sweep so much under the rug, you just keep tripping on it. So eventually you have to address it. Now I see it more as a team. It's us against, it's us working together and us as a unit, more of a unit, as opposed to, okay, you do your thing, I do my thing, and these are things we do together.
Well, I think for me, the things that make me the happiest is that I see our time together is really valuable. I see George making an effort for us to spend a lot quality time, you know, as opposed to quantity, the quality time, even if it's just watching a movie. It's taken on a whole new light, watching a movie now that it did before. We pick the movie together, we analyze the movie together, we talk about it. We're more actually involved in the moment. I don't know, I just feel like right now I'm really happy, you know, which is something I hadn't been able to say for a while. I think that's the thing. And I do tell him more now that I'm happy, as opposed to always saying the bad things or complaining about the day, you know. It's good just to look at him sometime and say, you know, I like this life. You know, this is a pretty good life, pretty good.
If repositioning is a lifelong process, what does the future hold for Bishop T.D. Jakes?
10 years from now, if I live my dreams, I'll be coaching other people. I'll be encouraging other people to go after what they were meant to go after. At this point in my life, I really want to see this next generation get their feet planted firmly in life. I would be helping people who had to come over the rough terrain that I came from. I want to see least likely people do almighty things, because I'm a bootstrap sort of guy. And I just want to live long enough and well enough to be around to whisper in the ear of somebody else who's repositioning themselves to say, you can do that. Don't give up. Don't let that stop you.
T.D. Jakes' Reposition Yourself book tour made its way through New York City. On a beautiful summer day, Bishop Jakes witnessed the sights and sounds on the streets of Harlem.
Repositioning is a big idea. Repositioning is more than about people. It's about cities. It's about neighborhoods. It's about taking a community that's slipping out of hand and bringing it back around again. It begins in communities and neighborhoods, but ultimately it can end up in the lives of people. For example, this community is a community that was slipping away, but somebody tenaciously decided we're going to rebuild and reposition a community. And look at how amazing things begin to change. And if it can happen in a city, it can happen in a life. In the midst of massive change and great revitalization, it sure is nice to know that there are some things that remain the same.
People lined up for hours to experience a magical evening with Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Hey, we love you, we love you. Thanks for coming to Harlem.
If we had him 20 years ago, Harlem would be more better today. We need him. Very, very, very powerful man.
The Apostle Paul, I love you, T.D. Jakes. I thank you for everything you've been doing for the community.
It's just the power in which he speaks. When he speaks truth, it's something that you feel it inside.
It was a powerful evening of inspiration and music.
Sit with me just a moment. I'd like to talk with you. Are you having a good time tonight? I say, are you having a good time tonight?
Bishop Jakes told a story which illustrates why so many of us have difficulty repositioning ourselves.
There was a little boy out in Colorado, and he wanted to see an eagle fly. Got him some sandwiches and put them in a bag and got his binoculars. He said, I'm going out there to see the eagles fly. Oh, I want to see the... no, that was a hawk. That's a pigeon. Ooh. That's an eagle. When the eagle spreads his wings, from tip to tip, it's 8 to 9 feet long. He can see 2 to 3 miles away. His vision is that keen. The eagle soars at heights where other birds could not breathe. The eagle is going higher and higher and higher. And all of a sudden, it stops in midair like it's been shot. And this time it's not plummeting down with aim or focus. It's falling down and flapping and falling and flapping and falling and flapping and falling. And finally, it disappears out of sight. And the boy thinks, I didn't hear a gun. Did somebody shoot the eagle? And he had to walk a couple of miles to find the eagle. And there, 9 feet of wings lay stretched out, and the eagle is laid down, nose in the dirt. It's dead. What killed the eagle? He turns the eagle over, and there affixed to his chest is a weasel. And the weasel has bit into the heart of the eagle. And the boy says, now I see what happened to the eagle. He picked up something that he wouldn't let go of. And somewhere in flight, when you don't drop what you picked up, it will drop you. I wonder if somewhere in your flight, have you picked up something that's eating at you, that's stopping you from living your life to the fullest and stopping you from scaling to heights unknown and doing what you were created to do? If you don't drop it, it'll drop you. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, what's eating at you? What's stopping you? You were built to fly. You were built to love and be loved, to touch and be touched, to think, to create, to participate. Who did you, or what did you pick up that's got you living like a chicken when you were called to soar like an eagle? Before I die, I want to see the tops of the mountains. Before I die, I want to spread my wings and fly through the clouds. Before I die, I want to feel the cool breeze blowing across my bald head. I want to soar so high that the world will know that I was here. What about you? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want to do with the life you have left? What are you going to do with the life you have left? You're going to stay scared, live in the chicken coop? Or are you going to spread your wings and fly? I think there's some eagles in here. Where are my eagles? Where are my eagles? Spread your wings, baby. Spread your wings, brother. Spread your wings, mother. Spread your wings, my brother. Spread your wings and let the storm lift you up. For this is your moment. This is your time. This is your day. This is your hour. Go for it. Position, reposition, switch, shift, change, do what you gotta do, but get them wings out. Do your thing. Live your life. Drop your weasels and go for it. Tell somebody, say, go for it. Tell somebody, say, reach for it. It's your time. This is your year. Spread your wings. Spread them wide. Spread them wide. Spread your wings. Spread your wings. People, spread your wings. Spread. Earth is large. Spread your wings. Anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I was trying to say. That if you just do a little tweaking and a little bit of repositioning, you can live your life without any limits at all. No more periods, commas.
Bishop T.D. Jakes' words and spirit have touched millions around the world. He is a man of message. Nothing is more important than your next decision. Reposition Yourself has the power to transform people's lives.
My road to recovery, I would say, more revolved around learning how to love myself and learning how to love others. Most importantly, learning how to have a relationship with God.
You must remember that no matter where you are, it's not too late to start over, begin anew, and grow to a higher level. You have everything you need to reposition yourself, to throw off the limitation of others, and to thrive. It starts with a dream.
Yeah, I probably will reposition at some point. I don't know when, I don't know where or how, I don't know where it'll take me, but I don't think this is the last stop. I think there's more out there.
Nothing is more important than your next decision. Embrace change. Commit to change. You have the tools, you just need the will and the tenacity to see it through. Reposition yourself. It's the power to transform your life.
It's so strange that my pain has now turned into my promise and my misery has turned into my mission.
If you don't like the way your life is going, redesign it. Redeem the years you've lost, restore your vision, and revive your passion for living. Minor adjustments make a big, big difference.
I mean, I can't be happier right now. It's sometimes I don't know it's me. I can't even remember right now some of the rough times. You know, and I just tell people I'm just a witness, you know, that it can work.
Remember, it's all about the time. Time is your greatest resource. Time is the most valuable thing you have, and still the question remains, what are you going to do with the time you have left?